Came World War II, and our uncles went to Poland to fight in Poland, died trying to stop Hitler from killing white Polish people.
News from Government House Victoria, where South Africa's newly elected Prime Minister, Dr. Malan, was sworn in by the Governor-General of the Union, Mr. Van Zyl, at the beginning of a new chapter in South Africa's history.
If I could, a word with you, Your Honor.
What is it? You know that this is very unprofessional.
Yeah, I know, but we have to stick together, you know?
I'm well aware of the new government's position on these matters. What is it?
I think we need to set an example with this one.
And why so? Why him? After all, the fellow's just a cafe owner. This law makes us vindictive.
No. He is one of those following Jabavu.
Yeah.
ANC, the resistance to the laws.
Yeah, Jabavu. Come on, you already failed to prove the link.
He is an ANC follower. Okay, I can feel it in my bones.
Don't tell me you can taste it in your blood as well.
Not quite.
Then what?
This fellow has to be cut down to size.
Oh, reined in, I would
Just call it whatever you like, but this fellow's rocking the boat. Okay, you know it, and I know it. And I hear there is already a campaign brewing to free the man.
Then would it not work in your favor to not have him in prison? Then there is nothing to free, clearly. This man is not another Litulu. He just doesn't want the police sitting in his cafe, drinking coffee, going on.
Your Honor,
I don't blame the chap.
we cannot afford such a charismatic element on the street.
I see. Anything else? I I have no more time for this. I have to go to my tennis appointment.
Your Honor, I beg.
If the government's approach is that we have become a military state, then it should be prepared for an onslaught from the blacks.
I beg you to reconsider.
You heard me, Mr. What's your name again?
Pinar.
Mr. Paynar, yes. What would you do if you were a black person? Would you not fight for your freedom? And I thought a black middle class is a good thing
Yes,
for the blacks.
maybe and maybe not. Besides, this has nothing to do with me. I do not make the laws, okay? I merely enforce them.
The National Party is trying to corner their black men, and the result will be disastrous, I tell you. We are outnumbered in this country. Why not leave the Majilas alone and focus your attention on the real source?
Whose side are you on?
The white side.
Really? Because to me, you sound like an advocate for the Bantu, the Letulis, Jabavu.
That's because you see things differently. The law can be racist as you may wish, but it still has to have a minimum amount of integrity. It should be believable for Christ's sake.
This is
Of course,
unbelievable.
In a manner that's fair to the Bantu.
Unbelievable.
Yes, our sentences will not survive the appeal if the trial is littered with unsound evidence. Let's just stick to the facts. and
But the
evidence.
laws say that we...
The law says it's time for my weekly squash match. See you next week, Mr. Paynar. Better have something on me on this case, or I will throw it out. No political mambo-jambo. The evidence, Paynar. The evidence. And remember law school. China, the law is an ass.
Did you see the game last night?
Hey, yeah, it was a good game. I'm a Springbok guy myself.
Yes, me too. They played well though, didn't they?
They kicked him right off the pitch.
So tell me about this Mozilla bloke.
Somebody told me he's working for the ANC.
ANC, right.
It's nice to be here on such a day and see the world solid here still.
Yeah. Can you tell us, Field Marshal, if the recent elections will affect your country's relations with Britain?
No, not for a moment.
You're not at all worried about it.
I don't think the elections had anything to do with our Commonwealth relations or with foreign relations. It's a purely internal affair fought on internal issues.
The election was a very close thing. Do you think, sir, there'll be another election soon?
Well, it's difficult to say. It's difficult to say. It's not a very satisfactory result from a government point of view, but nobody can say whether it'll lead to an early election or not. Time only can show. Wait and see.
Is there, in fact, a likelihood now of the Union leaving the Commonwealth?
No, not for a moment. Not for a moment.
Very happy news, sir.
Go to bed and sleep at night, safe. Nothing will happen to the Commonwealth.
Finally, sir, may we ask you, what do you think caused this change of heart in South African electors?
Oh, it's the post-war desire for change, you know. People don't like the old faces and the old voices and the old smiles and the old speeches. They want to change.
No. I see.
And you see, the same government has been in power now in South Africa for many long years. I think my government survived longer than any other post-war government. And after all, people want to change. Why not?
Yeah, Meunier. So this is the place you were talking about.
It just opened last week, I believe.
Oh, yeah? How long? You see this? Very nice to act like they're kings.
Or queens.
Hey, comrade. How long's this place been open, boy?
2.
To what?
You guessed me that.
Don't give me lip.
It is not lip. It is words coming from my lips. 2 weeks.
If it's not lip, what is it then?
Nothing.
Okay. Get us some coffee and toast. Can you do that?
Yes, I can do that.
Very cheeky bastard. This new law would fix him.
The new law of the National Party.
Yes. Tell me about it. Hey, how about some water too, please?
The new law is going to put the Bantu in its place for once. From now on, be no more mixing with the Bantu. He can have his own hole he can live in, and the white man will have his. It's in line with the Bible, really. Somewhere in the Bible it says that races should not mix.
Do you know where in the Bible this is said?
Well, I imagine New Testament. Timothy, perhaps.
What about the Old?
No, I don't see this law being around before Jesus arrived.
Jesus arrived.
You speak of him like he's a car.
I meant when Jesus came to earth, that's what I meant.
Your view of the world is very biblical.
I was raised a very strong Christian, Dutch Reformed Church.
Let's leave religion for another day. When two people argue, religion will always set them apart. Let's have a toast to no religious argument.
But isn't the position of the Nationalist Party the ruling party, not the religious position?
Ah, Dandy. Molo.
Hi.
No, ma.
A Tamzala, the usual egg sandwich and fruit juice, please.
Ah, Ben Kujani. You just came from the theatre. How was it?
Hi, Bo. Today we rehearsed this afternoon.
Ah, Richard III.
Yes, very much so, King Richard.
Ah, Dandy. When are you going to do plays about South Africa? Written and directed by South African people.
You know we can't do that. We have been banned from doing South African material. And we will get arrested for doing so.
But Dandy, some white South Africans have produced and did material as well.
No politics today, please. Just the usual egg sandwich fruit juice.
You just give the lady a sandwich and fruit juice and stop talking nonsense.
It is not nonsense.
What'd you say?
I said, I wish I could make you guys some Bloody Marys.
Be careful.
Oh yeah, I forgot to ask you. How's George?
Ah, George is good. He writes.
As long as he does, that's good. Ciao.
That's a cutie pie.
I don't give the Bantu women a second look, chum.
But Jack, some of them are beautiful.
Right, still, they're not blonde-haired and blue-eyed.
But Jack, no one in your whole bloody family is blonde-haired and blue-eyed.
What's you laughing?
How long does it take to get coffee and toast in this cafe? If it's not ready, we will take you downtown under the new law, boy.
Yes, I've been here a long time. Since then, you've been talking nonsense. Complete nonsense.
That is it. Get out of my cafe.
Okay, now you've asked for it. You are now officially under arrest.
I do not care if it's official or unofficial. Just leave.
What about our coffee and toast?
Screw that, just arrest the
Good morning, Miss Fox. How are you? Fine, thanks.
On rice.
How do you plead, Mr. Tony Njira, to the charge of resisting arrest with intent to commit a riot? Thank you.
Not guilty.
We would like to present this case right away, Your Honor. Save the state valuable time and money.
Your Honor, I have an attorney. May I have my attorney present with me to represent me in this matter?
Look, Njira, I heard about this case. You got yourself into a lot of trouble here, yeah. Now tell me, why did you not want to make coffee for these officers?
And toast.
It is a long story.
You're obviously not taking this seriously. I have all the time.
He is a cheeky fellow, this one. A lot like your Jabavu.
Really is another Jababu.
Oh, yes, Your Honor. Big things have small beginnings. As Yoni said in his book, Holism, there is no place for the African to exist in our society.
Okay,
You know.
that's enough. I get your point. Do you have any evidence of his involvement in anti-establishment activities and subversive activities?
Not really, Your Honor, but 2 seconds with this fellow's more than enough.
Maybe Pienaar should stick to one case at a time. Inciting riots and treason allegations are very serious, Mr. Pienaar.
So,
Your Honor, I am entitled to an attorney, and I would like my lawyer present to represent me in this matter.
Who is your lawyer?
Ned Gama.
Look, Majila, don't turn this into a political matter. The new law on this is clear, very clear. You are to play second fiddle to the whites. Got it?
But-
In fact, Section 3 says, I quote,
But Your Honor, isn't this a political trial?
got it?
Your Honor, this man is clearly an ambitious politician pretending to be a cafe owner.
Or maybe he just has bad hearing.
Maybe.
Look, Majila, I've done my best to accommodate your shenanigans. The state finds probable cause, and we will hear opening testimony next week. In the meantime, I advise you, as a Christian and a friend, not to follow in the footsteps of these ANC fellows. Education for the Bantu.
I thank you for the advice. But I still choose to remain uneducated under this system.
Look, I'm charging you in contempt and fining you 200 rands.
Thank you.
Make that 300 rands.
Your Honor, we are dealing with an element here.
Mr. Majila, please don't rock the boat. You've turned my courtroom into a bloody circus. Yeah, a bloody circus.
Your Honor, it was already a circus before I got here.
Okay, let's take and proceed. Just care from Majila that you don't come across in the wrong way.
Your Honor, due to the disrespect the defendant has shown you today, I recommend he be held without bail under the new Section 22 provision.
Motion is granted.
Thank you.
Next Friday, what's the next case?
Oh, come on, Mazila, where are you? It's almost 3. Where are the papers? We need them for the newsletter. Where did you put the papers?
Did you hear that Mzila was arrested by the policeman?
When?
This morning. The policeman asked specifically for coffee and some sandwiches, and he looked at them like an angry dog.
Katwa Aringitwe Lento. That does not sound like the Tony I know.
They took him to the station for processing.
What was he charged with? Did they find anything on him?
He is in violation of the new law. Thank God they did not find anything on him, though. But you know the police, they always come later to search the place. What papers are you talking about, by the way?
Political writing. Look, this is a Nazi state, a police state, I tell you. A man can be charged with reading The Economist.
I thought you were not interested in politics. You're just a lawyer, huh?
It's a long story.
Go ahead, I'm listening. I remember when you were younger, you were always studying and reading like no one else. You want to know what they called you?
Professor.
Professor of Laws with an S at the end. Anyway, what papers? Don't get yourself into any trouble after all this hard work now as a lawyer.
I won't. The papers. I've got to find the papers.
Zinzi, my love, just when things were starting to become more different between us.
Wait, the papers. Tandi, wait.
What does the new law say? And I don't remember specifically, but I think it says that you have to prepare coffee and tea for the whites when they ask you to do it.
Is it a coffee and tea law like the Americans had?
I don't know anything about America. I was born and raised here in South Africa. The only America I know about is Humphrey Bogart.
Humphrey Bogart.
What is the coffee and toast law, by the way?
I will tell you one day, but for now, I must attend to Mazila. He was good to me when I was a law student, and I have to help him.
Go ahead. Tell him that we love him. Tell him that we are behind him.
I will, and when I get back, I will tell you all about the coffee and toast laws in America.
You better do so, okay? Oh yeah, one more thing of importance. When they took him away from processing, you want to know what he said to them? He said, "You will pay for this."
No, he didn't.
Oh yes, he did.
That's subversive activities and terroristic threats. He should have known better. I've got to see Tony.
They took him downtown at the Cape Townian courtyard for processing.
Was it a peaceful arrest?
Yes, it was a peaceful arrest. Thank God he did not offer any resistance. Sebangu Bantu. Anyway, what business do you have with Mzila, by the way? I see you here all the time.
I and Tony are just friends.
You're just friends?
Yes, and a man and a woman cannot be just friends?
Tony is different. A different man and woman can be friends.
Yes, just a friend,
Friends
huh?
for life.
Sounds like the Union of South Africa. Are you
Excuse
sure?
me?
Yes, are you sure you and Tony are not newlyweds?
Hello? Excuse me? Come on, Ned. A woman like me with Tony? You must be out of your mind.
Lost my mind?
Yes.
We will see. You know, the Greek gods said that opposites attract. Do you know that Zeus, god of fire, was terribly attracted to Achilles? Some say it's the collision of fire and water. As one element is extinguished, a new one created. And also, in my experience as a lawyer, the greater and louder the denial, the more plausible the result.
Only in South Africa can a black man be so knowledgeable about Zeus, with close to no knowledge about our own heroes. Faku, Shaka, why don't you familiarize yourself with our heroes in order to become a great Kama?
What is your point, Thandi? Greatness is not the part of my agenda.
That's not the point, it's just an observation.
You've got a quick mind for someone who's an actor.
Don't call me that.
What? Actress?
I'm an artist.
Artist.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when you see Tony, when you visit him in jail, tell him I said hello, okay?
You can tell him hello yourself when you see him.
You do that.
I've got to go see Tony.
All right, go. Go.
To find his papers.
Go.
Hinter uns liegen. Trommel die Trommel kommen, zur Fahne die Fahne, dann wird zur Gruppe Gruppe stoßen, zum Gau der Gau, und dann wird endlich diese gewaltige Kolonne der geeinten Nation nachfolgen, das früher zerrissene Volk. Es würde ein Frevel sein, wenn wir jemals sinken ließen, was mit so viel Arbeit, so viel Sorgen, so viel Opfern und so viel Not erkämpft und errungen werden musste. Man kann nicht dem untreu werden, was einem ganzen Leben Inhalt, Sinn und Zweck gegeben hat. Es wird nicht so etwas aus nichts, wenn diesem Werde nicht ein großer Befehl zugrunde liegt. Und den Befehl gab uns kein irdischer Vorgesetzter, den gab uns der Gott, der unser Volk geschaffen hat. So sei dann unser Gelöbnis an diesem Abend, in jeder Stunde, an jedem Tag, nur zu denken an Deutschland, an Volk und an Reich, an unsere deutsche Nation. Unser deutsches Volk siegt heil! Siegt heil! Siegt heil!
I am here to see Mazila.
Mazilla?
Yes, Tony Mazila.
What is your business with him, boy?
I am his attorney.
Attorney? Stop lying. What do you really want? I'll have you locked up for civil disobedience. Tell me what you really want.
I already told you. I am his attorney.
You're really asking for it, boy. There are no black attorneys in South Africa. Okay. Well, let me see your license.
Yes. Where is that license?
Maybe you never had it to begin with, eh?
Here it is.
You sure this is not a fake or forgery? I'm going to make a phone call, and if I come back this is a fake, I'm locking you up on the spot. Do you hear me?
It's real. Make the phone call.
Mr. Ned Kwama, attorney at law.
Kama.
Excuse me? How come no one tells me we have a black attorney in South Africa, eh?
Now, can I see Tony?
You have 15 minutes. Do you have your notice of appearance pursuant for the Criminal Procedure Act?
Here. I've had enough of your games. Now go and get Tony.
Be careful, boy. You may be an attorney, but in the eyes of the law, you are still a Bantu. Don't rock the boat. You have 15 minutes.
Let me search you. Is that all? Tony, how are you? Look like you've lost weight.
I'm fine, Ned. I'm just a bit tired.
Yeah? One day of jail and you lose weight. I guess prison diet is not gourmet.
Gourmet?
Yes. Nice, delicious, well cooked.
No, Ned. It is far from gourmet.
Well, let's get down to your case. Some preliminary facts.
Aye.
Now, you were charged under the new law for engaging in actions against the government. And, see here, Section 62, Statute 1948, says anyone knowingly engaged in actions against the government is guilty of the crime of treason. And, see here, Section 22, inciting a riot.
Treason? Ned, I only refuse to serve those bastards coffee and toast.
Watch your language, Keffa.
What else?
That is all.
Then why did they come down on you so hard?
Ned, I don't know.
Tony, we have to be honest with each other if we are to beat this.
The girl, the actress.
Dandy.
Yes, Dandy. She came by the cafe. I made her coffee and toast after the policeman had already ordered.
So, you refused their order?
Ned, yes, more or less, but those bastards do not belong in my cafe.
But this is South Africa. You know that we as blacks cannot pick and choose who we serve.
Yes, I know.
Then why? You could have just walked away.
You know what, Ned? I've seen you grow. From a child, and now to a man. Ned, throughout my life, I've seen disrespect and more disrespect. You are 31 years old. But Ned, I am 46 years old. For 46 years, I've carried this burden in my heart.
What burden?
Ned, the burden of being a second-class citizen. Ned, all the money in the world means nothing. Absolutely nothing.
But we have all heard it. And this is not the way to go. We cannot go pound with them.
Ned, I know. But those bastards, they just kept pushing. And pushing.
And pushing.
And pushing. And pushing. Pushing. But you know what? Ned, They don't have a case. Unless you are thinking what I'm thinking. Yes. Unless they fight the papers. So, Tony, where did you put the papers? Ned, take a guess. I do not have time for that. All I know is that if they find those papers, you are in serious trouble, and so I and the rest of the members of Congress. So, where did you put them? All right. It's in the coffee maker. The coffee maker. Tony, of all places. I know. They have a warrant to search the place in the next 30 minutes. I've got to go. Run, run, run.
We got him now. Let's gather enough information to have a guilty conviction by tomorrow night. I warned him, he wouldn't listen, bloody copper.
These people never listen. South Africa is not their country. We built this country. Their country was just sticks and dirt. The white man built this country.
Yeah, try telling that to the ANC.
I know. Where should we begin? The search?
Let's work our way to the center of the cafe. East meets west.
Yeah, Yanni. Don't you think we could have handled this differently? I mean, this is a man's cafe. It's like coming into his home.
I wonder about you. You're going soft. A lefty, perhaps. We gotta come down hard like a hammer on these
But
people.
why so hard? Are we not a Christian nation after all?
Christian nation, your ass. The Bible's rather clear on who's the master and who's the slave. The whites are a Christian nation, not the blacks.
Where does it say this?
Somewhere in the New Testament. Old Testament, actually. Actually, old and new, does it even matter, Yoni?
You said new previously.
Does it matter?
It's funny. I was a Reformed Advent churchgoer school. I don't recall such a conversation.
Maybe you missed the part where Jesus discusses who's on top.
Or maybe you just made it all up. Yeah, Janie?
Listen, Cronje. I saw how you looked at that girl this morning, and I'm still a rank above you. Let's get back to it. No more politics. We're here for Vestreka. Our grandfathers did not die for Bantu rule, Yoni.
Our laws are now our politics.
I don't care, Yoni. I don't care what the philosophy is of our laws. The only thing I'm clear about is that whites and blacks are not equal. Even God knows this.
Maybe there are two gods. One for the whites and one for the blacks.
Shut up.
One in politics and another one in...
Just shut up. No more Bantu power, yo.
All I... What exactly are we looking for?
How could you execute a search warrant if you don't know what it is you're looking for?
We usually just search for anything and everything.
Here it is. Take a look for yourself.
Warrant for search signed Woodward in the case against Tony Mzila. Permission to search his cafe as evidence in case. Permission to search for coffee maker and toast maker as evidence.
Good.
Well, we have the toast maker right here, so now we all need is the coffee maker.
Keep looking, Cronje. You find anything?
No. What about...
What?
Nothing.
Speak, Cronje. You know you have a tendency of not speaking your mind.
What about the bottom counter?
Okay. Well, let's look at that later then. I mean, if the poor bugger didn't have a coffee maker, he should have said no. Perhaps the poor fellow was embarrassed.
Funny, these things.
Good afternoon, officers.
Good afternoon.
Concentrate, Shauna.
How's everything in the play world?
Very demanding.
What play now?
King Richard III.
Interesting. Now tell me why Shakespeare in Africa.
Well, actually, it is not the color of the writer that determines whether or not the play is good or bad. It's just the play itself.
How so?
Even if Shakespeare himself were black, that does not mean that whites cannot perform in his plays. A play is an independent work of art, independent of political persuasions. It transcends the racial divide, and that's the artist's mission. We find many themes in our community that exist here in South Africa.
But Richard III, that's a man obsessed with power.
That's a play that can be seen as a South African tale in itself. Our leaders and King Richard have lots in common, you know.
And that is what?
They're like Prime Minister Milan. That man will give anything to be in power, and you know that.
Politics.
Very much so.
Does this cafe attract the most politically active Bantu yet?
No, Jack, she's just talking about her play, Richard III.
What does a Bantu woman know about Shakespeare? Nothing.
Oh, come on, Runseen, there's no need for that. She is a lovely lady.
Well, lovely or not, get back to work. That's an order, Yanni.
Afternoon, gentlemen.
Yes, Attorney Kama, you obviously know that this is a crime scene.
Yes, and I'm exercising Section 216 of the Criminal Justice Act. My right to observe the search in action. And here's the order signed by Woodward himself.
Let me see. Seems to be in order. Okay. Just maintain working distance, you'll be okay. So where were we? Yoni, your black beauty's got to go. And Kama, maintain working distance, please.
There is no need to be rude.
Remind me to write you up when we get back to the station for insubordination. You're taking sides with the blacks against us? Remember where your bread is buttered, comrade?
You heard him, folks. This is a crime scene.
Will you be able to come and see the play?
No, we will not be able to come see you in the play. You know that whites and blacks cannot be in the same building unless there's prior approval by the State Department. No, we will not come see you in Richard III.
I will see.
Yeah, go and I'll have your badge, this one. Where is that talkative Kama?
I saw him leave. He's somewhere where we were talking.
That's fishy. I smell a rat.
It's funny, and I smell nothing.
We'll have to interview that Ned fellow later.
For what?
Obstruction of justice.
Maybe you should just indict the whole town for obstruction of justice.
Very funny. Remind me to write you up when we get back to the station.
I will definitely do that.
And to think I'm the one that's recommended your skinny self for corporal. My bleeding heart friend, I should have listened to what the others were saying about you. You're the reason we have not been effectively able to deal with blacks in this country.
When play started on the third day of the second test at Lord's, South Africa's gum-chewing captain, Alan Melville, was within 4 of his 4th consecutive test century. A boundary off Bedser did the trick, and he equalled Jack Fingleton's record. South Africa put up a great fight to avoid the follow-on. Here's Tuckett, bowled by Wright. But they did have to follow on, 227 behind. And soon after the second innings had started, the royal family arrived and play was held up while the teams were presented. It was a breezy day. The King and Queen had a long talk with Bill Edrich, whose brilliance with bat and ball was one of the features of the match, and with his teammate and partner in crime, Dennis Compton. The Queen stayed on to have a cup of tea and to see Norse stay with Mitchell to put up a score of 120 for 2 at the close. Next day, tragedy for South Africa. Norse was bowled by Edrich first ball. Mitchell batted on steadily to reach his 50. Evans was in great form as usual, and so was Yardley, who took a brilliant left-handed catch to dismiss Harris. Wright, who took 10 wickets in the match, bowls man. Wickets fell quickly, and when the innings closed, England needed only 26. Hutton and Washbrook knocked these off easily. Here's Hutton's winning hit.
All right.
matter of the state versus Majila, having entered a plea of not guilty, we will proceed to hear evidence. Ms. Majila, having been and entered attorney law, Ned Kama understands the full implications of these charges. The charge of treason against by the state carries with it a life sentence. Ms. Majila, do you understand these charges?
Yes.
Do you understand that if found guilty, you face prison time?
Yes.
Very well. Then let's proceed.
2 days ago, Mr. Tony Bazilla, a local cafe owner living in the Bantu township of Simonstown, Cape Town, was arrested and charged superintending under the new laws, more specifically under the Sedition Act. He has been charged under Section 2116 of the Sedition Act for acting in such a way as to pervert the interests of the state. He categorically refused to serve police officers coffee and toast. And under the statute, treason is any act going against state action. Since police officers represent state action, he is so properly charged.
Mr. Paynar, are we to assume that every police action is also state action?
Yes.
Even illegal acts?
With all due respect, Your Honor, I'm not finished.
Continue, Mr. Paynar.
Thank you. Now, the state is not trying to say that police officers are immune to illegality or above the law. The state is simply saying that in this case, and in this case alone, the act of these 2 police officers 2 days ago were, in fact, state action.
The request for coffee and toast is state action?
Yes, so far as it is tied in with surveillance, methodological investigative cases, and the cooperation of persons with ongoing investigations.
Was Mr. Gila under investigation?
Yes.
For what?
Seditious acts and in support of terrorism.
But Mr. Paynar, even if he was under investigation, why arrest him for something that seems to stretch your investigation, the
Your Honor.
refusal to serve the 2 officers?
Your Honor, our case is piecemeal. And this happens to be one of the pieces. His refusal to serve is tied in with a preemptive cover-up.
So you do not have any independent collaborative evidence of this sedition you so eloquently speak of?
No, the investigation has not yet concluded.
Thank you, Paynar. Is that all?
It is all. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Kama, you may state your case.
Thank you, Your Honor. My client, Tony Mazila, owner of Tony's Cafe, was arrested March 16th, 1948. Now, short end of the stick is that the order to serve coffee and toast by the officers is not state action. Our position is entirely illegal. Nowhere in the statute is there a definition of sedition as a failure to serve police officers their meals and snacks. The state must clearly define what state action is and what state action is not. If the state would like to include these definitions, then it should be a legislative process and not a judicial interpretation by the prosecution. The act is too ambiguous, and as such, Mr. Mazila must be found to have acted outside of what the act criminalizes. Unless, of course, some imprimatur evidence is found to act in cooperation with the evidence in chief. I cite the Republic of South Africa versus Matsamaya.
Let me get this right. Are you saying that people can refuse to comply with police orders?
Yes. If those orders have no value on the direct duties of the police officers, what we have here are 2 officers attempting to bully a man into serving them in his own cafe during their spare time while hiding under the sedition.
We object to that tone of voice, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Your Honor,
I'm the judge here, Mr. Paynar. Mr. Kama is entitled to his opening statement.
our position is that police officers cannot use state legislation to ask for prompt service. We also offer, Your Honor, the fact that there is no evidence that Tony Mazila refused at all. The officers concluded wrongly, as evidence will show, that a delay in their order was refusal. Our position is that even if Your Honor concludes, and state law argues against this, State v. Matsumae and State v. Botha, that the order to serve coffee and toast is not state action, then our superintending position is that Tony Mazila never refused at all. He simply made a human refusal. What we have here are two issues. First, whether orders by police officers for meals and snacks are state action, and whether Tony refused these orders. If the state finds in the negative on all these questions, then the defendant is innocent. If the state finds in the negative on either one, then the inconsistency between the first part and the second argues for the defendant's innocence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kama. Mr. Paynar, you may proceed with your testimony.
Your Honor, with all due respect, the state would like to ask that you recuse yourself from this case.
No way, Mr. Paynar. Please proceed with your testimony. I have no intention of recusing myself.
Very well. The state would like to ask Jack Runstein to stand, please.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear, Your Honor.
Very good. Proceed, Mr. Paynar.
Mr. Runstein, could you please tell the court, in your own words, what happened on the day of April 1948?
Objection. Speculation.
Sustained. Mr. Paynar, please establish the officer's profession and duty on that day.
Mr. Runstein, what is your current profession?
I'm a police officer with the South African Police Department.
Thank you. Now, what is your duty?
I patrol 3rd Street in Simonstown.
And are you familiar with the defendant, Mr. Mazila?
Yes. He was arrested for seditious infraction.
Sorry, could you please explain this to the court?
Under the new law, it is illegal for anyone to disseminate information that is a protest to the new system.
Can we move on to this business of the coffee?
We find that this cafe owner, this Mazila fellow, was hiding something. It's all a secret, an elaborate cover-up.
What makes you assume this?
Objection. Speculation. Call for argument.
Very good, Kama. I will allow this. Let me hear what the man might do.
Yes.
We find that the Bantu has developed very clever and imaginative ways to disseminate information.
So, you have reason to believe that this man's refusal to serve coffee and toast was just a ruse?
Yes, clearly he's hiding something.
Thank you.
Any further questions, Mr. Paynar?
Your Honor, no. Thank you.
Is this your only evidence?
Yes, very much so.
Your cross, Kama.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Runson, was a toaster and coffee maker recovered?
No, just the toaster.
Objection!
Grounds.
I object to this Bantu questioning in this manner.
Overruled.
Okay. So, an informer led you to Mr. Mazila?
Yes.
And do you have independent collaboration of this informer?
No.
And what of the coffee maker? Did you find it?
No.
No further questions, John.
Mr. Paynar.
Your Honor, the state has met its burden in this case and is beyond a reasonable doubt here that Mr. Mazila had seditious material.
Yes, let me see the
This year, the Rant Easter Show at Johannesburg, at which many nations were exhibiting, was on a larger scale than usual. It marked the 50th year of the Union of South Africa. The Prime Minister, Dr. Verwoerd, was making his first public appearance since the state of emergency had been declared. His almost jovial demeanor gave no sign of anxiety over the affairs of the country which had so gravely deteriorated since the shooting at Sharpeville. Still, he'd come to the big show, of course, to see the exhibits for himself, and he made quite a thorough tour of the exhibition. He was there to open it too, and to address the crowd of 30,000. Here's one thing he said.
We are prepared to cooperate with every state in the world, white or black.
It was after his speech that the attempt on his life was made. Dr. Verwoerd falls, shot in the face at point-blank range. All around him are stunned. His wife's there trying to help.
In closing, the state finds that the cited cases, State versus Matsamayo, State versus Botha, hold that for a person to be in possession of seditious acts, that person must also be of that intent. In addition, the person must be acting to overthrow the government. Sedition is a very serious crime. It seduces the act of treason, makes an outcast a man, and creates an enemy against the state. If the state or government, if you may, has proven its case, it must be beyond a reasonable doubt. In my ruling, I find as such, State versus Matsamayo, State versus Botha have not been met. Mr. Mazila refused to serve coffee and toast out of protest. Mr. Mazila lacks the intent for sedition. Protest is not illegal in our South African democracy. For the state or government to prove its case, as stated, it had to be beyond a reasonable doubt. I do not find this present in this case. Government hopes and prays that this court may investigate what it could not investigate for itself. This is not how legal proceedings work. Each side presents a complete case. Mr. Mazila, I'm finding you not guilty of the crime accused. Court is adjourned.
fought against white domination, and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the idea of a democratic and free society in which all persons will live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an idea for which I hope to live for and to see realized. But my Lord, if it needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die. If we were forced to resort to violence
it is because we had no other alternative whatsoever